Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside the Trailer, episode number 17 with myself, Drew, and Connor. We're back after a little small hiatus. We didn't post an episode last week.
Wow.
We both had, I guess, just pretty busy weeks to be completely honest, so it's like, things get in the way sometimes. Sometimes we're not available 24/7.
We got sick again last week too, which didn't help.
Yeah.
Kind of changed up our schedule a little bit, and then
Dude, getting sick twice in like what?
a month.
Period?
Yeah. No, it was not fun. It was not fun. I'm really trying not to, go for a third one.
Dude, I mean,
I hope not.
we're kind of past like the the time period where you get sick. I think that like the February to January, February is when most people get sick.
Yeah, it's the worst time.
Yeah,
everything's like kind of like spreading around, and unfortunately, I caught it twice.
Twice.
I didn't get it as bad as some other people were. I know some other people were getting it a lot. I think it was like more of a stomach thing. I think mine was more like a head cold.
Yeah, nasal, all that kind of stuff.
Just gross feeling.
Yeah, that's gross. Honestly, I'd say that might be, stomach is worse painfully, but like the most annoying thing is when you have like, a stuffy nose.
It's so annoying, man. It's so annoying. All
of it's annoying. It just feels, it just sucks.
It just feels so gross.
But through those periods of time, a lot of stuff went down.
A lot of stuff has been going down.
In the NFL, NHL a little bit. We're kind of nearing the NHL time period where a lot of stuff goes down. And then for NBA, there's been quite a few things too.
Yeah.
A lot of shifting of the teams and stuff like that. So we'll get into like kind of our first topic, and we're going to keep it casual today. We're just going to talk about things. We're going to go over some stuff. But the thing I want to start off with first is a dude named Deebo Samuel. A dude I have on my fantasy team who I have a small bond with because of that. So I'm going to try not to be as biased as possible. But why don't you tell us what went down with Deebo and him getting traded?
Yeah, absolutely. So just last week, Deebo Samuel got traded to the Commanders. He's going to be paired up with Jaden Daniels now and Terry McLaurin. So that's going to be a really fun duo. I think potentially, going forward next season. A lot of people are saying that Deebo's washed and whatnot. But honestly, I think Deebo still has a lot to bring to the table. And I'm excited to see how he plays in that offense.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Deebo really didn't show signs of being washed, per se, until last year. You know what I mean? I feel like Deebo had all the opportunity in the world. Like, I think it was like weeks 8 through like 14, to be completely honest, when Juwan Jennings was kind of turning it up for the team. Yeah, I felt we
weren't seeing much.
Like that was the period of time where Deebo had a chance to show everybody that he was not washed, and he didn't do too much. And that whole 49ers scheme was kind of weird last year. Like things weren't going normal for anybody. Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk was out. Like, they had a whole bunch of problems, and obviously Brock Purdy is on the decline, I would say, even though he's asking for a contract, too, which is interesting. I think he's going to get paid a lot.
Yeah.
But, everything wasn't really going too great. Obviously, he gets traded to the Commanders, and here he is in a situation where he's with Jaden Daniels, who you could argue is, when we talked about before, top 6, right at that 6th spot. Very interesting to talk about. He's going to slide right next to Terry McLaurin. He's probably going to be more of a slot guy. Terry will probably be the long ball guy, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah.
I think he does have a lot to offer, and I think, like, what do you take of this matchup with Terry McLaurin? Do you think he'll pair nicely with the 1-2 punch there?
I think he absolutely will. I mean, we saw flashes of it with working with Brandon Ayuk, so what's to say it's not going to work with Terry McLaurin?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's that much of a difference between Terry and Brandon in terms of, giving them the ball. Like, I think they both kind of will see equal opportunities in that sense. But pairing Deebo in there, I think it's going to work. Like you said, Terry's kind of a deep ball guy. Somebody you're just going to throw it up to. Deebo can play that slot. We've seen flashes where you can also play running back with the 49ers too. So, I think that it helps expand the Commanders' offense a little more, too, with the run game as well. Jaden Daniels obviously is a threat, both, passing and rushing. So just even being able to open up the field even more now with a guy like Deebo, I think is going to be great. I think it's going to do wonders for Jaden Daniels.
I agree.
In year 2.
I liked your point about the run game, right? Because we've seen in past years, Deebo... Honestly, there might be a game where Deebo has 5 carries and only 3 catches, type of thing. Right. Or so he puts up more yardage on the ground. Do you, like, obviously they have Brian Robinson. I could see a situation where Deebo could take a lot of the percentage of Brian Robinson's touches because Brian Robinson, if we're being honest, is not really he's probably on the outskirts of a top 20 guy. Do you agree with me there? Somewhere around
probably
that
in the middle of the pack, yeah.
You think he's
somewhere in the middle of the pack of running backs, but yeah, somewhere in that
Yeah,
ballpark.
I wouldn't say he's elite. So I think, he can carve out some of that run game role, and I think that's a good spot for him to do it. If he went to a team that the other rumored team was the Texans until they dropped out, he wouldn't have been able to carve any minutes from Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that. So I think this is a better situation for that, per se. You know what I mean?
I think Brian Robinson, too, is more like kind of like a power back as well, but I feel like with Deebo, you can use him a lot, in jet sweeps,
exactly.
jet sweep type plays, or wildcat type plays as well, too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of where the bread and butter is with Deebo.
Yeah, he excels with that,
Absolutely.
And that makes sense. What would it take for Deebo to have a successful season? What would you say is like a good stat line for Deebo to get that you'd be like, yeah, he's a little bit back? We're not asking too much of him,
Stat wise, I don't know. I mean,
we're talking 800 yards, 900 yards for you to be like, yeah, he's
yeah, definitely.
Like that.
It's hard to kind of say exactly where I'd want to put it in terms of enough for me to be convinced that he had a good season.
Right.
I'd probably say, 800-900 for it to be 800 or 900 for it to be like, okay, that was a good season for Deebo.
Yeah.
Like it worked out.
He's a complimentary wide receiver.
Right.
He's not the one.
Yeah, he's not going to be putting up 1,500 yards
not
this
anymore.
season, but
I wish he was, to be completely honest.
No. What's to say that he couldn't do that?
Jaden Daniels MVP season if that happens.
Absolutely. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to happen because Drake May's around, but
yeah.
But I get you there.
I mean, Deebo's only 29 still too. Like he's not terribly old. He's not like just walking to the retirement home, but he's also not 23 years old.
Not anymore, yeah.
But still, I think Deebo has a lot to bring to the table for the Commanders, and I think that's gonna be exciting.
He's got some stuff left in the tank for sure.
Absolutely, he does. He does.
Yeah. Speaking of other wide receivers, DK Metcalf, the big guy, the big strong dude on the Seahawks. He requests a trade, and I think what's even funnier is this is like 30 minutes after his buddy Tyler Lockett gets released by the Seahawks as well. And, JSN is kind of just sitting there just going, who else? What is this team?
He tweeted it out. He was like, hey, what the hell?
Hey, what the hell? Look, and I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. That's crazy. You just lost your entire receiving core right there, pretty much, besides JSN, who was going to be the future of it. But now your wide receiver, too, is Jake Bobo.
Jake Bobo season, bro.
It seems like it must be. I mean, obviously, I think, the Seahawks are going to probably address having to get another receiver to complement JSN, which I think there's plenty of vets that you can get in free agency potentially that you can complement JSN with.
Yeah.
But the Tyler Lockett one I didn't really see coming, honestly. The Seahawks franchise guy, I didn't expect to see him get released like that.
Yeah, you make a good point.
He's a little on the older side, so maybe they kind of wanted to get rid of that and kind of look forward to the future, especially with JSN. But DK too requesting the trade is very interesting. I think he probably wants a better contract as well. I think his contract ends in about a year or two.
Just a year. He just has one more year left.
Yeah, I think after this season, I think he's a free agent.
Yeah.
So I think he wants that extension, and I think he wants to go to a team that's willing to pay him a lot of money. So there's plenty of teams that I think we'll continue to dive into.
Yeah.
With our next episode that we'll be talking about. Patriots rebuild.
Patriots rebuild. So
I think that's a team.
Dropping a little bit of hint here.
Yeah, a little bit of a hint potentially.
Yeah.
I think other teams, could be in the mix. For DK, I think the Chargers may have been a team that I saw. If I'm correct, maybe potentially being in the mix.
They're an interesting one.
That would be a very interesting one to pair with Ladd McConkey. But anywho, DK wants out. I think he wants more money. So it's going to be interesting to see, how the DK story plays out, because I think it's probably going to get addressed, hopefully, maybe before free agency starts next week.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know what team is going to be completely honest. I do know what DK said is that he doesn't want to go to the Patriots because of cold weather.
I did see that before,
To be fair, buddy, you were playing in Seattle all these years, and
it's not much of a difference.
It's not much of a difference, and dude, half the teams in the league have cold weather. Right. The other half has indoor stadiums, so it's
Right.
I mean, if that's really what he wants, and he's unwilling to go to a team like the Patriots because of it, whatever.
But you want the money, man. So
do you want money?
Yeah.
That's
you can get the money here because the Patriots will be able to offer a stupid contract with the amount of cap space that they have.
Dude, yeah.
And I don't think Mike Vrabel is going to be afraid to, let the front office know to pay up especially to get a guy to pair with, especially to get a guy like DK to pair with Drake May, who's going to do absolute wonders for him.
And I agree.
So, I'd love to see DK go to the Patriots. I think that would be really fun with him and Drake.
Yeah.
Because he would be seeing 1 million targets a game, and that would be awesome.
The other thing to think about is that, trying to, wrap my head around why DK would request a trade in the first place. One reason just might be, if the Seahawks are not willing to pay him all that money because they have JSN, I understand that. DK still has a lot left in the tank. This is not because he's old. He's 26 years old. He's a monster. He's a beast. And the only reason he hasn't been putting up, elite numbers like last season is because JSN is in the room. And there was guys like Tyler Lockett. And Geno Smith had a down year.
Yeah.
These are the things that make wide receivers not play well. It's if the people around them can't support him.
Right.
And so, DK is still that elite receiver, and he deserves to be a wide receiver 1 somewhere.
Absolutely.
So that's, I understand the trade from him.
He'll be a wide receiver 1 in a lot of teams.
Of course. I agree. And with that being said, obviously, JSN stock.
Yeah, that's on the rise.
Up in the air.
That is huge on the rise.
And I want him in fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to get him.
That trade value has just gone up a lot. His stock value has gone up tremendously.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to sell JSN, you can get a really high price right now before the season starts. But
I agree.
Yeah. I think that's going to be interesting to see how JSN kind of stock plays in fantasy-wise, if it will continue to rise.
Yeah.
As we'll see. But I'm excited to see JSN break out and, be that solidified wide receiver 1 next year. And to see where DK goes and if he can do the same thing. I think he can do the same if he was the Patriots. I think we can. I think his stock would go up tremendously as well.
I think so.
So I think stock value for both of them up on the rise.
I agree. So we just also finished the combine about less than a week ago. Over the weekend was majority of this stuff. We seen the wide receivers, the running backs, the quarterbacks over the weekend. Before that was obviously the O lineman, the D lineman type stuff. But that's not really the stuff we want to look at. We want to look at the running backs, right? Because everybody is saying how this running back class is comparative to 2017. Where that class had an explosion of running backs. To name one, Alvin Kamara type of thing. Who were some of the other ones? Do you know some of the other ones off the top of your head? I think
in the 2017 class, CMC.
CMC was
Aaron,
Cook in that one. Was that Cook? Or was that 2018? I don't remember.
I know Aaron Jones was in that class.
Yeah.
I believe Joe Mixon was in that class.
I was thinking that too. And Mixon was in that class. Cook was in that class. Fournette was in that class.
Yep.
We got to think about these were some elite running backs who for years, and 4 of them are still playing, by the way, at an elite pace. That might go down as one of the best running back classes of all time, but people are out here really saying that this one is comparative to it. Off the top of your head, what are you thinking about this? And I don't know how much you know about the running back class, because this is obviously just very casual. We're just talking about it,
Right. No, exactly. I mean, I haven't done my homework on all of these guys. I mean, I've watched some of them. I mean, obviously, the number one, Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
How have you not seen him? Amari Hampton, another really good running back. Caleb Johnson as well. Someone that stands out to me that's a little lower than I kind of expected was Cam Scatterbo. Watching him in the playoffs, he was an absolute monster. So kind of seeing him at 8 right now is a little surprising. It might be his size. Being only 5'10", but he's still a big guy. Still 219. He's built. And he's not afraid to use his body and hit. So I like Cam Scatterbo. I think Cam Scatterbo could be a good
a
1-2 punch with any starting NFL running back as of right now.
Yeah.
So that'd be someone interesting. I think someone had a mock draft of him going to the Ravens, which would be
Dude.
That would be
Oh my
absolutely insane.
Learns from Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Like, he'll probably take it over after Derrick Henry's done. You know what I mean?
He could potentially. Justice Hill is still in that offense, but I feel like Justice Hill a lot of the time, I feel like he's in the passing game, but I think Cam Scatterbo was doing everything, in college, but I think he can, be, a very good power back as well.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, again, there's some really good names on here. You can't go wrong with the running back class. I do like the point that you made that it could be as good as 2017.
Could be. That's the whole question, right? Can it be as good?
That part of me wants to say no because that class was just so insane. But
Sure.
You never know. Obviously, you've got Genty, who I think most people kind of already know he's going to pan out in the NFL. He's going to be a monster. Hopefully. Hopefully I'm not knocking on wood there. But rumor is that he's going to Dallas. And I think that would be a really good chance for
Genty?
Genty.
So you yeah.
I think he's going to end up going to Dallas, even though I'm also seeing reports saying that Dallas isn't going to go running back.
Mm-hmm.
But it just feels like it's going to happen. And I feel like that's a really good place for him to break out and be good.
I think that'd be best case scenario for Genty and the Cowboys.
I think it would be. I think it would be too. Even though the past couple of years, I think people have kind of leaned away towards taking running backs in the first round, unless it's a generational talent. But we have a generational talent right here, like Genty.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the rest of the class? Do you think they can be as good as 2017?
Yes, I think so. I think the reason for it though is because like this wide receiver class is pretty weak compared to other years. So a lot of it has to do with the fact that like there's just so much depth in the running back class that like they show out. They look so much better. If the wide receivers were a lot better, people wouldn't necessarily look at the running back class. They'd look at it as a whole and be like, this class is awesome.
Yeah.
But because the running backs are so deep compared to everything else, every other position, people are saying that this is one of the best running back classes. Some dudes that you didn't even mention. Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, who were the Ohio State running backs, who were that 1-2 punch in almost every scheme. Both of them are probably going to be day 2, day 3 picks. Both extremely talented players. And, I think at the combine, we saw, I don't know if you heard about it, Bashul Tutin, who ran an extremely fast, I think it was a 2.31, 40-yard dash, which was extremely fast, faster than most of the other people here. And, all these running backs go pretty deep to the 20 prospect. At the 20th ranked prospect, he's probably as good as probably the 3rd or 4th best running back last year. So when you put it in that perspective, it's a really deep class. And I think a lot of these guys could be starters day 1. A lot of them could be starters in a year. A lot of them could be starters in 2 years. I think this is resetting the running back market. The 2017 class kind of paved the way from 2017 to now of these were the guys you were drafting every year in fantasy in the top 10. But I think you're going to see all those 2017 guys start to get faded out, start to retire, just get washed.
Yeah.
And this is the generation of the running backs that will carry on for the next 8 years. And that's just the way I look at it. I might be wrong, but this class looks really, really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see, how they pan out and, if they can compare to 2017. That's very high standards.
Yeah.
So
it really is.
We will see. We will absolutely have to see on that.
I agree. So let's switch over to the NBA now. There was a handful of injuries that came out this week, all pretty meaningful. I'm not gonna lie. The first being that Kyrie is out for the season with an ACL tear.
Yeah,
that's
the
tough.
Mavs can't catch a break, man.
No, they can't.
Well,
No,
I mean, they kind of dug their own grave, but in that sense, yeah, the Mavs cannot catch a Mavs fans. I'll say Mavs fans. Mavs fans can't catch a break, man. I mean, we've already talked about it a million times now, but the Luka trade is just, why would you do that? Especially coming off for an NBA Finals appearance. Anthony Davis isn't always, healthy as well. I think there was talks of potentially shutting him down for the season now.
Yeah.
And then, Kyrie's out for the season. So,
what is going on?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Mavs. The Mavs have dug themselves a really, really big, deep grave, and it's going to be hard to get themselves out of it. Fans were leaving the game in the third quarter the other night, storming out of the stadium. They're done. They don't want to watch the product that's being put on, on the court. And it's because, again, the Mavs organization put that product out there on purpose. Like, they got rid of Luka, and it's just these injuries just suck.
Yeah.
Like, it's
you can't blame him for the Kyrie thing. That's the thing.
You can't blame him for the Kyrie thing. That it just happens, but it's like when you have a front office that's just so unorganized and just can't make good decisions. Like, again, the Luka trade, it's really all you have to say. It's just the Luka trade.
Yo, there's an ant on your sweatshirt. That's insane. Right there.
Yo, what? How the hell did you get there?
You want to put it outside? Or you want me to get it?
If you want to take it. It's kind of cool.
See, that's what happens as the things get warmer in the trailers.
Oh, it's going up much. Hold up.
You got it. Where the hell did it go?
It's right here. Hold on. Get off me!
Little buddy will not go in my hand. There he is.
There he is.
As it starts to get warmer, though,
that was a good call.
Ants start to get in the trailer, and these things happen. We'll be back in a second. Say there's a 90% chance there's going to be no more ants.
All right, I'll take your word for that. Then. I'll take your word.
All right, we're back. Yeah. Oh, so when it comes to Kyrie, oh, that was funny. When it comes to Kyrie, like, there's nothing the Mavs organization can do about that. But again, they dug their own grave by getting rid of Luka, and now what? You're stuck with injury-prone Anthony Davis for the rest of the season. They're in a position where they're on the outside looking into the playoffs, right? They're in 10th place in the Western.
They just tank themselves now of everything.
But I don't think you can tank good enough to get a good pick. This team is in a bad position right now.
They're in a terrible position, man. And again, they dug their own grave, and now they're gonna deal with the consequences of getting rid of Luka. Yeah. Okay, you say if you have Luka, Kyrie's out for the season. Okay, not great. Yeah, maybe hit the panic button, but you have Luka, so who cares? You're gonna make the playoffs. That's your point guard. Like, you're fine. You'll make it work, but you don't have Luka to fall back on anymore. And again, Anthony Davis isn't always going to be there too. He isn't always healthy. They could shut him down the season if he's not going to stay healthy. I don't know, man. It's just a terrible time to be a Mavs fan, unfortunately for them. But I don't know what that organization is doing.
Yeah,
I really don't.
And I also just don't know what they're going to do going forward. It's a bad situation. I don't want to completely just kill this topic, but there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. You just hope and pray and wait till next season, right? That's all you can do. Another injury that happened. Jaren Jackson is week to week for the Grizzlies. He's another player that's on the defensive game he's pretty talented. On the offensive game he's pretty underrated. I think people don't talk about him too much, and they should. And he's week to week, so it's not like he's out for the season. So I don't know. They'll just have to get through the next.
Yeah, just got to grind through this next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it right now, it's a grade 2 left ankle sprain. No clear timetable on his return, but again, could be week to week. Jaren Jackson, a great defensive player as well. Big hit for the Grizzlies, who are fighting, for that playoff spot. And we'll have to kind of see how the rest of the season plays out in terms of, how much longer Jaren Jackson is going to be out, and if the Grizzlies can continue to build off of that. Right now, the Grizzlies are sitting in 4th place in the West, 38-23. So right now, they're sitting pretty well. But again, the West is a little competitive, so they could easily fall back into a play-in spot if Jaren Jackson doesn't come back soon.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But again, the West is really tight. So they're only a couple. I think they're 5 games out. They're 5 games ahead of the 7 seed right now, which would put them in a wild card spot. But who knows? Again, like you said, the Mavs are sitting right now in that 10th spot. But I think a team like the Suns is just going to slide right back in.
Yeah.
They're 3 games out, but again, the Mavs I think are probably just going to fall right out, and the Suns will pick it up.
Yeah, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Another injury we should talk about, Jalen Suggs, who he is out for he got knee surgery, so he's going to be out for the season as well.
Yep.
It's funny, I just had seen the other day like a meme about Jalen Suggs' hairline, which I thought was really funny. I don't know. Have you seen a picture of his hairline recently?
I don't think so, no.
Bro's going to look like Derek White soon. Very soon. I wouldn't be
surprised.
Is it that bad? It's that bad. I mean, I'll pull up a photo on screen now if you want to look at it at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. And, I don't mean to make fun of him while he's getting knee surgery and out for the season. But he's not the most impactful player.
I see.
You see that shit?
I do see that, yeah.
I think it's funny. He'll look a lot like Derek White if he just like
he probably
goes bald up top.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, if he just kind of shaves it all off.
Yeah.
Lets it go. He could just. He really could. I think he could rock the bald look if he just let it go.
Yeah.
So, maybe he'll come back, fully healthy and with a bald head.
And honestly, maybe he'll play better because of it.
He could.
But he was playing pretty decent for the Mavs. Sorry, not the Mavs, the Magic.
Yeah, Magic.
He was putting up on average 16 points a game before his injury, so it's like good for like either a 6-man or like a solid starter, not too much anything.
Right.
But not the biggest hit to the Magic, but the Magic aren't really going to go far anyway. I'm pretty sure. I think they're
right now they're sitting at the AC, the 29-34.
Okay, yeah. So
they're fighting for a play-in spot right now.
It's funny too because they're 29-34. If you go to the Western Conference, 29-34 would be the 11th seed.
Yeah, you'd be the 11th seed.
So they're lucky they're in a weaker Eastern Conference this year.
Mm.
But either way, that kind of sucks. He's been out for a bit since like the beginning of February.
Mm.
So it's like, it's not going to really change too much on like right now.
Right.
But it just sucks.
Right. It does for like down the line. Trying to make.
They might not make playoffs. They might not make playoffs.
Right. Right now, we said they're at the AC. They probably will finish the season somewhere in that ballpark of the 7th, 8th, 9th seed. Actually, they're a lot closer with the Hawks than I realized. They're only a half game ahead.
Yeah.
But they'll probably sit somewhere between that 7th and 9th seed at the end of the season and try to make the playoffs from there.
It really sucks, though. Mm. If they don't make the playoffs, that's just one thing they could point to.
Right. Again, that team is still kind of young, so they'll be fine going into the season. But
I agree.
Yeah. But I think this would be a good chance for them to get some playoff experience, too, in that young core.
Yeah.
Even without Jalen Suggs.
Yeah. Speaking of playoffs, I'm just curious, off the top of your head, who do you got? Who do you, way too early predictions, right? We haven't even hit 60 games, I'm pretty sure. We just did hit 60 games, I think, just the other day. But, who do you got? Off the top of my head, we're Celtics fans. Obviously, we see the Celtics going far.
Yeah.
If you could give me the ideal matchup in your mind of the top two teams, who would you say? Who are those two teams?
In each conference, I'd say.
Well, either in each conference or who are the championship teams?
In the championship teams, obviously the Celtics, I think, have to be the favorites. Even with the Cavs' success this season and being so far ahead. I do think the Cavs will compete in the playoffs. Obviously, we've shown it. They've competed with the Celtics this season.
Yeah.
But I think the Celtics still are going to have it. That team is absolutely insane when they are fully healthy, and the team is starting to get together and be fully healthy. I've definitely taken the Celtics no matter what coming out of the East. West, I think, can get a little more interesting. A team like the Thunder, has been dominating all season. They've got a 10.5 game lead in first place right now over second. The Lakers can be scary with Luka.
They are.
Luka and LeBron, that's one of the most insane duos you will ever see in your entire life. The Nuggets, they still got Jokic. They still got Jamal Murray, MPJ. Really good team there. Grizzlies, they just lost Jaren Jackson Jr., but still solid team. Same thing with the Rockets. After that, I don't see much contenders-wise in terms of fighting for the title. So I guess I would probably say Thunder and Celtics probably would be
your top two.
My top two in a potential NBA Finals matchup. I think that probably would be the favorite if I had to say so right now.
Yeah, and I think
I'd like to see that.
And I would like to see that too. I think that's first of all a good color combo. Green and orange is kind of cool. But I'm going to say something similar to you. And I think it's going to be Celtics Cavs. I think those are going to be the 1-2. That might even be the Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
And again, in the West, I think the Western Conference final might be Thunder Lakers type of thing. Very boring to say the 1-2 seeded teams are going to make it, but these are far and above the best teams in the league. You could say Nuggets, you could say Grizzlies instead of the Lakers, but I think the Lakers are turning it up right now since the Luka trade, like a whole ton, like a lot. And I
They're on
think
a 7-game win streak right now.
7-game win streak. They're 8-2 in their last 10. This is the time where the Lakers. Honestly, I'd say the Lakers are just as good as the Thunder right now, besides being 11 games behind.
Yeah.
In wins, it's the same. It's the Celtics situation. We think the Celtics are going to make the finals, but they're games behind the Cavs. But who cares?
Right.
I think it's going to be Celtics Lakers final, which I think would be pretty legendary.
That would be
I think that'd be legendary.
They absolutely would be. We get a Tatum Luka rematch in the finals, just different.
Just different colors.
Different team now for Luka.
It's just interesting, and I think it's going to be one of those 4 teams that probably wins the championship. That's what I'll say.
Okay, I like that. I would have the Celtics winning the whole thing. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, I think they have the best odds on.
They probably do have the best odds
right now.
I probably would hope so.
Plus 190. That's what I saw the other day.
That's what you saw the other day.
Yeah,
I think that's good odds. I think that's really good odds.
I think it's really, really good odds. And it's good odds, but at the same time, I wouldn't bet on it.
No,
I wouldn't put a bet on it. I mean, it's close to even odds. That's insane. They have about a 40. I don't know how the odds reflect like percentages, but I think that's good for like a 40 to 44% chance to win the finals.
I mean,
that's insane.
Heavy favorites.
That's what I'm saying.
Back-to-back champs. Yeah.
Probably a good bet for like small little thing, or if you wanted to parlay it with something else.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put a whole ton of money on it because championships, like, that's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do.
It's extremely hard to do.
So that's the only reason why I wouldn't do it. But obviously, I think the Celtics are going to win.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's move into the NHL. We're entering the trade deadline Friday because today is the 5th, and the 7th is the trade deadline. There's a lot of stuff going down early because usually that's just how hockey is. Like, things go through the week rather than just like on the day. There's still stuff on the day, but through the week there's more. I want to start off and like stay on the same injury bug case that I was talking about in the NBA. Jack Hughes, who is, I'd say one of the premier players in the league.
Yeah.
Out for the season. I think it was a shoulder thing.
Yep.
Shoulder surgery.
Yep.
The whole team just kind of a mess right now. They're not as good as I thought they were going to be. I'll pull up the standings, but I had them being top 3 in the league.
Right.
So did a lot of other people, but I don't think they are.
Right now, they're sitting 3rd in the Metropolitan. They're 33, 24, and 6.
Not too great.
Not too great. They're still they've got a couple games ahead of, in terms of a wild card spot. But again, this Jack Hughes injury is going to be huge to this team making a playoff push.
Yeah.
They could fall back down into that wild card spot. And there's teams that are on the rise.
Blue Jackets, Rangers.
Blue Jackets, and the Rangers are a team that is on the rise right now. Making it back. They're sitting in the 2nd wild card spot. And I think with this Jack Hughes injury, I think this is a perfect time for a team like the Rangers to slide back into that 3 seed. They're slowly creeping up there.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a huge, huge loss for the Devils. And part of me wonders if they're just going to miss the playoffs flat out now because of that.
Yeah, and it's tough because when you look at their record and their points, like, they're still in a playoff spot, and with the deadline pushing in, you almost got to... Like, what do? Do you stay put? You don't sell. I'll tell you that. You don't sell right now. Not with the core that you got. You probably either buy or you stay still. And I think part of me wants to say that they're just going to be a stay still type of team and hope for the longest push. I don't think you buy with your best player out. So I don't know what it looks like for the Devils' future, but it's not great. I thought this was the season they could do something. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the correct thing.
Right. I absolutely agree with you. With your best player out the rest of the season, there's no need to buy. You're not going to make that playoff push, unfortunately. You're just going to have to kind of stand still. And if you make a run, you make a run. If you don't, you didn't lose. You didn't gain any. You didn't grab anyone that you could potentially lose in free agency. You're going to have to worry about signing. And you didn't lose any players as well. You didn't lose anything. You just are the way you are, and you go into the next season and hope for the best and hope that Jack is healthy and good to go.
Yeah. I saw something that was like Timo Meier was upset with the Devils, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. I was trying to find it right now, but I can't find it. It'll probably be on screen, or if I can't find it, it won't be. But Timo Meier was upset with how the team was playing. He just couldn't understand what was going on. And I get it. They should be top of their league. They're good. They're points above the fourth place, the Blue Jackets. But you know, they were high expectations this year, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
No.
So we'll have to see what goes and what happens with them at the trade deadline on Friday. I'm interested to see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of trade deadline, let's talk about the Bruins. Let's talk about how bad this team is and what they should do for the trade deadline.
This team sucks, man.
It's really bad.
This team sucks so bad. It's painful. It's painful watching them. Right now, they're sitting at 22nd in the league. In terms of a wild card spot, though, they are currently 2 points out, but they've also got 2 games up on the Rangers, who have played 61 games. We have played 63. So we're a couple of games behind. You know, we're not getting any better. No. We've lost a couple of players due to injury. They just had to trade with Trent Frederick, Max Jones as well. This team isn't getting better. It's only getting worse, you know, as the season continues to go. And I think they need to be sellers of the deadline. I think they need to continue to make trades and just look towards the offseason and look towards the draft as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that they definitely need to be sellers, unfortunately. And I think it's going to be, unfortunately, tough conversations that need to be made on who's going. Because there's a lot of fan favorite players on that team. And I think Trent Frederick was one. I like Trent Frederick. I got to meet him in person. He's a cool dude. But I think, you know, again, tough conversations that need to be made on kind of, you know, changing around this team.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. But what's your take on that?
I think they need to sell. I think, you know, like you said, they're 2 points out. And they still have a chance to make playoffs. I wouldn't rule it out. 2 points behind the Rangers, I mean, that's nothing. I know you got games in hand, but the Bruins are the type of team to all of a sudden turn it up and go on a 5-game winning streak, whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did make playoffs. What would surprise me is if they saw this deadline as an opportunity to continue to buy, per se, because I feel like every single trade deadline we buy some washed veteran or get rid of a first-round pick and get some player who's just going to be a middle six type of guy like a Taylor Hall. And it doesn't do us any justice.
Right.
They bring us some kind of depth, but the Bruins are not going to get past the first round if they make the playoffs this year. I don't even want them to make the playoffs, to be completely honest.
No, at that point.
They've sucked all the fun out of every single game, it seems. Swayman is not playing like a top 5 goalie. He's not even playing like a top 15 right now. There was a short period of time where he was.
Yeah.
But now he's back down to earth again. So, I mean, he's not playing up to par. The whole team is not playing up to par. The only one who is David Pastrnak, who just finished a 17-game point streak, which was insane.
Absolutely.
Another 2 points the other night. He is an insane player and carrying this franchise, and he deserves the heart, to be completely honest, if they make the playoffs, which I don't think they will.
No. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
The Bruins need a lot, and I think the best way to do it is to sell, like you said. And I think it started with the Frederick trade. You got rid of him for a second and a fourth, and a defensive prospect, which, I mean, I don't even care about that. He's going to sit in the AHL. But you got a second. You got an early second with the Blues, who are also on the outside of playoffs, so it's a good pick to have.
Right.
So I liked that trade, and I think they should do a lot of that, to be completely honest. Trade Geeky. I think you should trade Geeky. I think you should trade Brezzo. Obviously, you can't trade Marchand now. I maybe would have thought about it before, to be completely honest, because I think he's going to still come back as a Bruin in free agency.
Yeah.
Trade Carlo to the Flames. I've seen rumors about that. I would do that.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, do you want them to sell too?
I would like them to sell. Unfortunately,
I think it's time.
I think it's time. You know, we've been trying to get over that hump the past couple of seasons. We had that legendary season a couple of years ago. Couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
Bounced back. Had a good season the year after as well. Couldn't get over it. And it was just been slowly going down. And I think now is the time where you need to sit back and realize that change needs to be made.
Yeah.
And I think this is the time to do it throughout the season where playoffs just don't look realistic right now. I mean, again, like you said, the Bruins can go on like a 5-game winning streak whenever they feel like it. We just haven't seen it that much this season.
No.
And I don't think it's going to continue the rest of the season as the team hasn't been getting any healthier. You know, they've been playing worse. I think it's time to, you know, again, like I said, have those tough conversations and move on. Move on and sell. And just sell what you can.
It's Don Sweeney's last chance to prove that he's worthy of being the Bruins GM, in my opinion.
He's lost my,
He's already lost it for me, too.
He's
but
already
I'm just
lost it
saying,
for me, but yeah.
if you can get some good picks and good prospects out of this deadline, then
God, maybe longer, but
you hold it a little bit longer, maybe another year. Who cares? Either way, you're out of here as soon as you make another mistake.
Yep.
Let's move on to the last two parts of the podcast for today. Two trades that went down. One yesterday, one today. We'll talk about the one that went on yesterday, or maybe it was the day before. Either way, Seth Jones gets traded to Florida in exchange. Oh, Seth Jones in a 4th rounder in exchange for Spencer Knight in a 1st. There's a lot you can talk about here. Seth Jones' contract is pretty big. It's upwards of $10 million.
Oh, wow.
For a defenseman that's not, I wouldn't even say is top 20, to be completely honest. I think you could argue that, but not top 20, in my opinion. And a team like Florida, who's pushing for the playoff, the championship again, this doesn't make too much sense to me. And you get rid of a 2026 first, and one of the best backup goaltenders in the league could be a number 1. And the reason I can prove this, Spencer Knight started the other day for the Blackhawks. I forgot to say, traded from the Blackhawks. He started for the Blackhawks, career high, 41 saves, only let him 1 goal for the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
We're one of the worst teams in the league. And they got a first out of it.
Right.
A+ for the Blackhawks.
Absolutely.
A+.
Absolutely. You dump off that contract. I mean, again, the Blackhawks haven't had a good season either. But you got another young goalie like Spencer Knight to come in. You got a 2026 first as well. And I think, Florida, they're really all in this season.
They really are.
They're really all in again. Dumping off that first, and they're going to get Seth Jones. Selling Spencer Knight too. I mean, they know they're going to have Bob in the playoffs, so I guess just get rid of Knight. But yeah, Florida is all in, and I think the Blackhawks set themselves up nice for the future now as well. Acquiring that first, getting a nice goalie to go along with that core, and they're going to continue to build.
Yeah.
So I like it for both teams, but if I had to pick a winner of this, I would go to the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah, I think getting Knight out of it was just like a treat, to be completely honest. It was like it's a beautiful add-on, to be completely honest.
Right.
I think the first alone would have been fine. You get an amazing prospect goalie. I love it. Yep. I love it for them. And you dump that contract, obviously, like you said.
Yep.
Just like an hour ago, they actually acquired a backup goaltender too. The Panthers did.
Oh, did they?
They got from San Jose Vitek Vanacek, who used to be on the Devils.
Yep.
Came to the Sharks, and now he's in Florida. So they got their backup goaltender now. Okay. And they didn't even dump too much. They prospect named Patrick Giles. Okay. Never even heard of him.
No.
So you get a backup goaltender who's not amazing, but he'll suffice. Obviously they have Bob. Yeah. So it's fine. But anyway, second trade of these two trades that went on. Tampa, bigger trade. This one is. They traded 2 firsts and a second and a young player in a dude named Nick Eismont for Yanni Gord and Oliver Bjorkstrand from the Seattle Kraken, along with a 5th. What do you got to say about this?
I mean, this is another team that's all in. The Lightning are clearly all in, getting rid of those 2 first-round picks to build up that team as well. The Lightning are going to be another team going to try to make a run in the playoffs as well. Again, they're all in. They're all in. I like the return for Seattle. Seattle is kind of not quite there in terms of the playoffs as well. Currently, right now, Seattle is 26, 32, and 4. They're not going to make the playoffs. Very behind in terms of the wild card spot. So they're looking forward to the future. You get 2 firsts as well and a younger guy. I like that. I like that return for them. But again, I think the Lightning get a good return as well, and I think they're going to be, again, they're building up a team. They're getting incredible depth.
Yeah,
they're going to be a threat to go forward, because this Eastern Conference has been absolutely stacking up. It's been stacking up. Yeah. I still think the Hurricanes would be my favorite.
Yeah, you still got them
right now. I think so. Going forward, but yeah, I think I think they got to keep building. If you're a team in the East and you want to compete, you got to keep stacking up that team. You can't be afraid to sell out.
Yeah, and I agree. What do you think of the Tampa Bay method? Is the general manager said he'd rather have a lot of good players on his team rather than a bunch of picks in the tank. And it's a very interesting approach to it, because only very few teams look at it that way. Right. I think a lot of teams will tell you want to have a good balance of picks and players. Right. But nope, not Tampa. Tampa would rather be win now every single year and not use a first rounder for as many years possible if it meant they were going to make the playoffs every year. What do you think of this?
I like the method. We saw Tampa, kind of I'm going to use the Rams as an example,
Sure.
kind of translating into the NFL, where they said F the picks, and they won a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And they've been fine since. They had one bad year, but the Rams, they've been progressively getting better, and they still have a really good team, even without getting rid of all those picks. But I think with the Tampa method too, I mean, you saw them a couple of years ago as well, where they went back to back up, and they've still been competing.
Yep.
These last couple of seasons as well, even with kind of just going all in. And I like the method of going all in. Obviously, it's risky. If it doesn't pay out, it doesn't pay out. But sometimes you got to take those risks. It's a business. You can't just like be kind of conservative and play it safe. You have to go all in. You have to go all in. If you were a team that believes that you have a shot to win it, you got to go all in.
Yeah,
that's my take on it, at least.
Takes guts to spend first-round picks, multiple of them, to get depth pieces, to be completely honest. Bjorkstrand and Gord, they're going to be, like, at best, a second or third pairing wingers.
Yeah.
I think Gord is I think Bjorkstrand is a center, and I think Gord is a winger.
Mm.
But either way, they might probably stay on the same line, probably third line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot for third line people.
It is.
But, I mean, Tampa every year, they always put up a competitive team. So we'll have to see how far they go in the playoffs.
Right.
Like you said, I don't think it's going to be them. I personally think it's going to be the Capitals. That's what I said from before. And
okay. I like that. Capitals have a really good season.
Yeah.
Ovechkin's having a legendary season as well, and he could potentially, probably, break the record. I think
he is. I think he's really close.
He's really close. He's only got 11 more to go until he breaks the record.
Hope he does it.
I hope he does it too. I hope it's not against us.
Do they even play us again?
They do.
Soon?
They play. I was just looking at it right before this game.
Yeah,
Give me 2 seconds. I'm so sorry.
Because I'm curious. Because I think if it's in like 10 games from now, it's possible it's us. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me take a look.
So poetic if it was.
So we play the Capitals on April 1st. So a little under a month from now.
That's about. I would say that's about like 13, 14 games.
So
it's super possible.
Let me look at the Capital schedule just to kind of see how many games that would be. Until then.
I really hope it's not.
Well, I don't know. Let's see how many games we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 games. But they've got 12 games. They've got 11 games to play until the Bruins. So
the only hope is that he doesn't go on a goal per game pace.
Right. Which
that's tough.
He could or could not do.
We'll see.
But we'll see. Hopefully it's just not against us. Some notable names in that kind of ballpark area of teams that he could break the record against. The game before we play them would be the Sabres. They play the Hurricanes after the Blackhawks, Islanders, Hurricanes again, Blue Jackets twice, the Islanders again, and the Penguins. So it's going to be one of those teams. Probably.
I mean, if he's going to break it, it's going to be one of those teams for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But who's going to be the one?
Give me Penguins.
I was going to say I'd like to see that.
Get
that when they play in Crosby.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I think that would look... Well, that would be one of the best moments ever, to be completely honest. That goal. I think that there'll be like a 10-minute pause, to be completely honest.
Probably. Yeah, absolutely. With a record like that, you absolutely...
Roll out the red carpet in the middle of the game. Mm-hmm. There's like... It's like middle of the second period and they're rolling out a red carpet to give him a trophy. Honestly, do it.
Have Gretzky come out too.
Gretzky does it too.
Gretzky's Honestly, that being said, he's going to have to be there. 1,000.
With Crosby, and Crosby's on the ice and he's just clapping for him. Low-key, that's a legendary scene.
That would be a legendary scene. That'd be really interesting to see. You know what? I kind of hope he pushes it off a little bit. Goes maybe on like a slow kind of grind to get in there.
And the Penguins are the last game, right?
Penguins are the last game.
Yeah, that would
division rival too.
Hey, chills.
That would be fun.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see how that goes.
So that'll do it for episode number 17. Had a little fun just having casual discussion about NFL, NBA, and NHL. Content this week is going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of content. You might see something like five YouTube videos in like the next 6 days, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So if you're a recent subscriber because of our Four Nations video or just like any of our other stuff, welcome to the channel. You're going to see a lot more soon. So be on the lookout for that. A lot of good stuff coming. And that varies between podcast episodes and just like regular content. We got some special stuff. We got things in the works.
Yeah.
And we're excited to show you guys. So if you're not already following us on social media, be sure to follow us. I mean, those links will be in the description. We post a lot on TikTok, a lot more games recently, so check those out. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, leave what your favorite part of the video was, and subscribe. And we will see you in our next podcast episode /content piece. See you later.